The massive ships appeared without warning. One moment, Earth's skies were clear. The next, 12 enormous vessels hung in orbit, each one larger than the biggest cities on the planet. News channels across the world broadcast the same images, dark metallic craft with strange blue lights pulsing along their hulls. Jack Mitchell stood at the window of the United Earth Defense Force headquarters, his eyes fixed on the live feed from the orbital cameras. At 42, with 20 years of military service behind him, he had prepared for many threats. This was not one of them. "Commander Mitchell, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," said Officer Diane Foster, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. Jack nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered, revealing a tall, gray-skinned being with 4 yellow eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its mouth was small, almost hidden beneath a protruding nasal ridge. "People of Earth," the alien said, its voice translated through computer systems. "We are the Craxian Collective. We have observed your world for many cycles and have come to offer protection and guidance. Your species shows promise but faces many challenges. Under our administration, you will flourish." Jack's jaw tightened. "Protection and guidance," he muttered. That's what the British said when they arrived in India. 3 days later, Jack sat in the back of the United Nations Assembly Hall as world leaders met with the Craxian representatives. The aliens had requested the meeting as a courtesy, not a negotiation. Their leader, who called himself High Administrator Zorex, spoke with practiced diplomacy. "We ask only for your cooperation as we establish outposts to better understand your world. This will benefit all humans," Zorex said, his 4 eyes blinking in an unsettling pattern. The President of the United States stood up. "And if we choose not to cooperate?" Zorex's expression didn't change. "We understand your hesitation. Change is difficult, but resistance would only delay progress and cause unnecessary suffering. We have helped many species reach their potential. You will be no different." Within a week, Craxian ships landed at points across the globe. They established bases in the Arctic, the Sahara Desert, the Amazon Basin, and the Pacific Ocean. When Australia refused to allow a base on their soil, the Craxians simply built one anyway, using technology that constructed a fully operational facility in less than 24 hours. Lisa Warren studied the Craxian language recordings for the 10th time. As the lead xenolinguist at Berkeley University, she had been given access to all communications with the aliens. Something wasn't right. "Computer, play sequence 5 again," she said, pushing her brown hair away from her face. The recording played, 2 Craxians speaking to each other, unaware that their ship's communications were being monitored. "The resource extraction will begin once the human resistance potential is neutralized," one Craxian said to another. "This world holds enough water and minerals to support 3 new colony worlds." "And the natives?" asked the second alien. "Useful labor, those with technical skills, will be preserved. The rest will be evaluated for efficiency." Lisa felt sick. She saved the recording and sent an encrypted message to the only military contact she trusted, Commander Jack Mitchell. Jack received Lisa's message while observing a Craxian cultural exchange in Chicago. The aliens had set up displays of their technology, carefully controlled to show only what they wanted humans to see. Families lined up to view holograms and touch samples of Craxian materials. It all seemed friendly and open. His phone vibrated. After listening to Lisa's recording, he walked away from the exhibition, found a quiet corner, and called his old friend Patricia Howard. "Patty, it's Jack. I need your help. How close are you to any Craxian tech?" Patricia Howard worked at the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which had been partly taken over by Craxian engineers. "I'm looking at their propulsion systems right now," she whispered. "They've got me running diagnostics, but I can tell they've restricted my access to the important parts. Can you copy anything? We need to understand what we're dealing with." Patricia paused. "It's risky, Jack. They watch everything." "I know, but Lisa just sent me proof that they're planning to turn Earth into a mining operation, with us as the labor force." After a long silence, Patricia spoke again. "I'll see what I can do. There's a maintenance panel they don't seem to care much about. Might be a way in." Over the next 2 months, the Craxians tightened their control. They established security zones around major cities. They restricted internet access, claiming it was to protect Earth's networks from cosmic radiation. They began cataloging all humans with technical skills. In a small apartment in Boston, Alan Ross watched through his window as Craxian drones patrolled the streets. Once a factory worker at a car plant, now he spent his days making parts for Craxian mining equipment. The aliens had converted the factory within days of their arrival. Alan closed his blinds and moved to his kitchen table. Beneath it, hidden in a secret compartment, he had stashed computer chips, tools, and technical manuals. Anything that might be useful someday. He wasn't a soldier or a scientist, but he knew something was wrong. Each night, more people disappeared from his neighborhood, taken to specialized work centers according to the Craxian announcements. The resistance began small: hidden messages, secret meetings, information passed person to person. Jack Mitchell used old military contacts to create a network across the country, then across the world. Lisa Warren developed codes based on English idioms that the Craxians couldn't translate properly. Patricia Howard smuggled out technical data bit by bit, building a picture of Craxian capabilities. 6 months after the alien arrival, Jack met with Lisa and Patricia in an underground room beneath an abandoned subway station in New York. "They're preparing for something big," Jack said, pointing to a map showing increased Craxian activity worldwide. "Their ships are positioning over major population centers." Lisa nodded grimly. "According to communications I've intercepted, they're ready to implement what they call population optimization protocols. They're going to start moving people to labor camps." Patricia spread out diagrams of Craxian technology. "I've learned something interesting. Their weapons and ships are advanced, but not as advanced as they want us to think. Their main advantage is their FTL drive, faster than light travel. If we could understand that." Their meeting was interrupted by the sound of footsteps above. Everyone froze. After a tense moment, a knock came in a specific pattern. Jack relaxed slightly and opened the hidden door. A young soldier entered, out of breath. "Commander, they've made the announcement. The Craxians are ordering the relocation of citizens from 20 major cities, starting tomorrow. They're calling it a resource allocation initiative." Jack looked at the others, determination hardening his features. "Then we're out of time. Send the signal. All resistance cells go active. We start tonight." As the message spread around the world, humans everywhere began their carefully planned actions. In homes and hidden places, people like Alan Ross retrieved their hidden resources. In laboratories and bases, people like Patricia Howard sabotaged crucial equipment. In communication centers, people like Lisa Warren planted false information in Craxian networks. The Craxians had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest. They thought they had found a colony. They were about to discover they had awakened a world of fighters instead. 6 months into the Craxian occupation, winter settled over the Rocky Mountains. Deep beneath an old military bunker, Jack Mitchell studied the growing network of resistance cells displayed on a paper map. He used paper because the Craxians couldn't hack it. "Status report," he said to the small team gathered around the table. Diane Foster, now his second in command, pointed to markers on the map. "We have active cells in 47 countries. Communication is slow but secure, using the old radio frequencies and coded messages." Jack nodded. "And our technology project?" Patricia Howard stepped forward, dark circles under her eyes from long nights of work. "We've made progress. My team has figured out how the Craxian shields work. They use a frequency shifting pattern that makes them nearly impossible to penetrate with conventional weapons." "Nearly impossible," Jack noted. "But not completely?" Patricia smiled slightly. "We found a flaw. If we hit their shields with precisely timed pulses at alternating frequencies, we can create a cascade failure. We're building prototype weapons now, using parts smuggled from their own factories." News from outside was grim. The Craxians had begun their population optimization program, moving thousands of people daily to work camps in remote areas. Cities were being transformed into processing centers for Earth's resources. Resistance was met with swift punishment, not death, as the aliens saw humans as valuable labor, but transfer to the harshest work sites in the Arctic or deep mining operations. In Silicon Valley, Kevin Davis worked in a Craxian data center. At 34, he had been a software engineer before the invasion. Now he maintained the aliens' Earth-based communication systems, a position that gave him valuable access. Each night, Kevin made small, undetectable changes to the Craxian code. Nothing that would raise alarms, just tiny backdoors and weaknesses that could be exploited later. Today, he was ready for his biggest move yet. As the Craxian supervisors changed shifts, Kevin inserted a small device into the main server. To any observer, it looked like routine maintenance. The device contained a virus he had designed, to infiltrate Craxian systems and create a shadow network the Resistance could access. 3 days later, in Berkeley, Lisa Warren received the first data packets from Kevin's virus. Her small apartment had become a secret communication hub, with equipment hidden beneath floorboards and inside walls. It worked, she whispered to herself as she decoded the information. The virus had mapped the Craxian communication protocols and was sending a steady stream of their internal messages. What she found confirmed their worst fears but also gave them hope. The Craxians were planning to bring 3 more massive ships to Earth, each one capable of stripping entire regions of resources. But their communications also revealed something crucial. The aliens had never faced serious resistance from any species they had conquered before. They had no contingency plans for an organized planet-wide counterattack. Lisa immediately sent this information to Jack, using their secure channel. At a Craxian mining facility in Australia, Alan Ross loaded heavy machinery onto transport vehicles. The work was brutal, with long hours under the hot sun, but his position gave him access to Craxian technology and raw materials. When no guards were watching, Alan pocketed small components, power cells, circuit boards, anything that might be useful. Each worker in his group did the same. At night, they assembled these parts into simple but effective devices based on plans distributed by Patricia's team. "We have enough explosive charges to disable the main generator," whispered Sam Boyd, another worker in Alan's cell. "But the timing has to be perfect." Alan nodded. "We wait for the signal. Everyone in position?" Around the world, similar conversations happened in whispers. The Resistance grew stronger each day, connected by Kevin's hidden network and Lisa's coded messages. At the hidden mountain base, Jack received a visitor he had been waiting for. Admiral Sofia Martinez had been commanding the remnants of Earth's space forces when the Craxians arrived. Most had assumed she died when the aliens destroyed the International Space Station in the first days of the occupation. "You're alive," Jack said, embracing his old friend. Sophia's face was thinner than he remembered, with a new scar along her jawline. "Alive and busy. We've been building something you need to see." She handed him a tablet showing images that made Jack's eyes widen. Hidden in the asteroid belt and in abandoned mining facilities on Mars, human engineers had been constructing ships. Not the small vessels humans had before the invasion, but larger craft that incorporated Craxian technology. "How?" Jack asked, amazed. "When they hit the space station, I escaped with a handful of crew in emergency pods. We drifted to a mining outpost on Mars. The Craxians never bothered to check it, too small to register on their scans. We've been gathering resources and technology ever since. How many ships?" 23 completed so far, small but powerful. "We're calling it Operation Phoenix." Jack studied the designs. "You've incorporated their shield technology." Sophia nodded. "And more. We captured a scout ship that came too close to our operation, studied it, took it apart, learned everything we could. The Craxians are advanced, but not as advanced as they want us to believe. Their advantage is in scale, not innovation." Jack called an emergency meeting with his leadership team. When they gathered, he introduced Sophia and shared her revelation. This changes everything, Patricia said, studying the ship designs. With a fleet, we could take the fight to them. Exactly, Sophia replied. But we need more time, more resources, and a way to coordinate with ground forces when we're ready to strike. Lisa looked up from her notes. I think I can help with that. The Craxians have a rigid command structure. If we can disrupt their leadership at the right moment, their forces will be thrown into confusion. Kevin Davis, who had traveled from California for the meeting, added, and my network can feed false information to their ships, maybe even take control of some of their automated defenses. Jack stood up and walked to the map on the wall. Then, we have a real chance. But we need to keep the Craxians focused on Earth while Sophia's team completes the fleet. We'll need diversions, Diane suggested. Coordinated strikes to make them think our resistance is purely ground-based. Throughout the spring and summer, the resistance carried out carefully planned operations across the planet. Storage facilities were raided for supplies. Communication relays were sabotaged and repaired just well enough to work poorly. Transport, ships carrying processed minerals to orbit, suffered mysterious failures. The Craxians responded by increasing security, never suspecting that each security measure was being studied and recorded for future use against them. When they sent ships to patrol the asteroid belt, Sophia's team simply hid their vessels behind larger rocks or in the shadow of Mars. 1 year after the invasion, the human resistance was ready to reveal its greatest secret. The Craxians thought they had found an easy colony to exploit. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, one that was about to answer their invasion with an unstoppable fleet. The hidden shipyard floated in the shadow of Jupiter's largest moon. Admiral Sofia Martinez guided her small transport vessel between massive construction platforms where human ships took shape. What had started with 23 vessels had grown to a fleet of over 60 ships of various sizes. Beautiful, aren't they? Sophia said to Jack Mitchell, who had made the dangerous journey from Earth to see the operation firsthand. Jack pressed his hand against the viewport, amazed at the sight. I never imagined we could build something like this right under their noses. The largest ship in the fleet, named Defiance, stretched nearly half a mile long. Unlike the smooth, uniform design of Craxian vessels, human ships combined practical functionality with salvaged alien technology. They looked rough, with visible welding lines and patches of different materials, but each one represented a miracle of human ingenuity. How did you get the materials for all this? Jack asked as they docked with the command station. Asteroid mining was already established before the invasion, Sophia explained. We expanded those operations. The Craxians are so focused on Earth's resources, they barely monitor the outer system, and when they do send scout ships, we're ready for them. Inside the station, engineers and former astronauts worked at control panels. Many had been off-planet when the invasion began, stranded at various outposts and research stations. Now they formed the core of humanity's space force. We captured our 7th Craxian scout ship last week, Sophia said, leading Jack to a secure area where the alien vessel was being dismantled. Each one teaches us more about their technology. Patricia Howard was already there, having arrived a day earlier. She looked up from a disassembled Craxian engine, her hands covered in a blue fluid. Jack, you need to see this, she said excitedly. Their FTL drive is based on principles we theorized but never implemented. It creates a bubble of compressed space in front of the ship and expanded space behind it. The ship itself doesn't move. Faster than light, it rides a wave of distorted space-time. Can we replicate it? Jack asked. Patricia nodded. We already have. The Defiance completed its first FTL test jump yesterday. It works better than theirs. Better? Jack looked surprised. We made improvements, Patricia said with a smile. The Craxians rely on established designs. They haven't innovated in centuries. We're finding ways to increase efficiency, reduce energy consumption, and improve maneuverability. On Earth, the Resistance continued its work. Kevin Davis had expanded his digital infiltration of Craxian systems. From a hidden server farm in an abandoned mine shaft, he inserted false information about Earth's defenses and resistance strength. They think we're still using primitive projectile weapons, Kevin explained to his team of hackers. Their security reports show only small, isolated resistance groups. They have no idea what's really happening. Lisa Warren worked with Kevin, using her knowledge of Craxian language and culture to craft convincing misinformation. Their communication style is very structured, she explained. If we match their patterns, they never question the content. When the Craxians detected unusual energy readings in the asteroid belt, Lisa helped craft a report attributing it to natural radiation from Jupiter. When they noticed missing equipment from their outposts, Kevin inserted records showing the materials had been transferred to other bases. The resistance on Earth coordinated its activities with the fleet preparations. Alan Ross and his mining facility team sabotaged key equipment at precisely timed intervals, forcing Craxian repair crews to focus on Earth operations rather than outer system patrols. In the Craxian command ship orbiting Earth, High Administrator Zorex received troubling reports. Another communication relay malfunctioned, he asked his subordinate. Yes, Administrator. The third this week. We suspect faulty materials. These Earth metals are not as durable as our standard components. Zorex's 4 eyes blinked in an angry pattern. And the shipment to Homeworld? Delayed again. Mining production is below expectations. The humans require more rest periods than anticipated. Their physiology is fragile. Increase their work quotas, we need those minerals. Zorex turned to the viewport, looking down at the blue planet. And send another scout ship to check the outer system. Something doesn't feel right. The scout ship departed Earth orbit unaware it was being tracked by hidden sensors placed by Sophia's team. As it approached the asteroid belt, a small human vessel detached from the shadow of a large rock and matched course with the alien ship. Scout ship detected, reported the pilot of the human vessel, Eric Carter. Moving to intercept. Admiral Martinez watched from the command center. Remember, we need it intact. Disable their communications first, then engines. The human ship, named Shadow, was smaller than the Craxian Scout but more maneuverable. Using technology developed by Patricia's team, it could mask its energy signature until the last moment. When the Craxian Scout finally detected the approaching vessel, it was too late. The Shadow fired a precisely targeted pulse that overloaded the alien ship's communication array. Before the Craxians could react, a second pulse disabled their engines. Target neutralized, Eric reported. No distress signal sent. Preparing for boarding. This was the 7th scout ship captured using the same tactics. Each one provided valuable technology and intelligence. More importantly, none had returned to report what they found. In his mountain base on Earth, Jack received the news of another successful capture. He gathered his team to review the overall operation progress. The fleet is nearly ready, he told them. Sophia reports 65 ships operational, with 15 more in final construction. Each one carries weapons capable of penetrating Craxian shields. Diane Foster pointed to a global map showing resistance activity. Our forces are in position. When the fleet makes its move, we can strike at every Craxian base simultaneously. What about the civilian population near those bases? Jack asked. Lisa and Kevin have been inserting evacuation orders into the Craxian communication network, Diane explained. The aliens themselves are moving humans away from their key installations, thinking the orders come from their own command. Patricia, connected via secure video link from the Jupiter outpost, added her report. We've developed a way to disrupt their fleet coordination. Their ships rely on a central command system. If we can take out their flagship, the rest will be temporarily paralyzed. The plan was taking shape. After 18 months of occupation, humanity was ready to reveal its true strength. The Craxians believed they were dealing with a primitive species easily controlled and exploited. They had no concept of the human capacity for adaptation and innovation. On the Defiance, Admiral Martinez addressed the crew gathered in the main hangar bay. Men and women from different countries, backgrounds, and skills stood together, united in purpose. For a year and a half we've worked in secret, she said, her voice echoing through the vast space. We've built this fleet while the enemy thought us defeated. We've studied their technology and improved upon it. We've prepared for this moment. She pointed to a large display showing Earth surrounded by Craxian ships. In 3 days, we launch Operation Phoenix. Our fleet will strike from the outer system while ground forces attack their bases on Earth. The enemy believes they found an easy colony. Instead, they'll face the full might of humanity's response. The crew cheered, the sound reverberating through the ship. On dozens of vessels throughout the Jupiter system, similar briefings took place. Engineers made final adjustments to engines and weapons. Pilots ran combat simulations based on Craxian flight patterns. The fleet was ready. Humanity's answer to those who saw Earth as just another colony was about to be revealed, and it would change the course of the war. The day of liberation began with silence. Across Earth, Craxian bases reported normal operations. In orbit, their warships maintained standard patrol patterns. High Administrator Zorex reviewed production reports from mining facilities, noting, with satisfaction, that resource extraction rates had improved. The humans are finally accepting their place, he told his command staff. Increase processing capacity in the southern hemisphere. I want mineral shipments doubled by next cycle. None of the Craxians noticed that many of the improved reports had been created by Kevin Davis and his team. None saw that thousands of humans had quietly moved away from areas surrounding alien installations over the past week. None detected the fleet of ships now moving from Jupiter toward Earth, using the sun to mask their approach. On the Defiance, Admiral Martinez gave the final order. All ships execute jump sequence. Operation Phoenix is go. Across 65 vessels, human crews activated their modified FTL drives. Space rippled around them as they accelerated to speeds the Craxians believed impossible for human technology. The journey from Jupiter to Earth, which normally took weeks, would be completed in hours. Jack Mitchell stood in the Resistance headquarters beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens showed status reports from cells around the world, all ready to strike. Send the signal, he ordered. Diane Foster pressed a sequence of buttons on an old radio transmitter. The coded message went out worldwide on frequencies the Craxians had dismissed as too primitive to monitor. In Australia, Alan Ross received the signal. He nodded to his team spread throughout the mining facility. It's time. Workers who had seemed docile for months suddenly moved with purpose. They activated devices hidden in equipment under floors and inside walls. Power systems failed. Security barriers deactivated. Communication arrays went silent. Similar actions took place at Craxian installations across the planet. From the Arctic to the Amazon, from city centers to remote outposts, resistance fighters emerged from hiding. In orbit, the first warning came too late. A Craxian sensor operator noticed unusual readings near Mars. But before he could report, the human fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's gravity well. 65 ships of various sizes, moving in perfect formation, their hulls bearing the combined flags of Earth's nations. Unidentified vessels approaching, the operator shouted. They appear to be human design but incorporating our technology. Zorex rushed to the command center. Impossible. Their space capabilities were destroyed during the initial invasion. Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies. Put it through. Admiral Martinez's voice filled the Craxian command ship. Attention Craxian forces. This is Admiral Sofia Martinez of the United Earth Fleet. Your occupation of our world ends today. Surrender your vessels and withdraw your ground forces, or face the consequences of your invasion. Zorex's 4 eyes widened in disbelief, then narrowed in anger. Launch all. Fighters. Target those ships. How dare these primitives challenge us? The Craxian warships moved to engage, firing energy weapons at the approaching human fleet. But Patricia Howard's improvements to alien shield technology proved their worth. The human vessels absorbed the attacks, their modified shields shifting frequencies to neutralize the Craxian weapons. Return fire, Admiral Martinez ordered. Target their weapon systems and engines. Avoid their life support if possible. The Defiance led the attack, firing precisely calibrated energy pulses that penetrated Craxian shields. Smaller human vessels maneuvered between the larger alien ships, their enhanced agility making them difficult targets. Aboard the Defiance, Lisa Warren monitored Craxian communications. They're confused, she reported. Their command structure is breaking down. They never expected a counterattack of this magnitude. Martinez nodded. Broadcast the next message. Make sure it reaches all their ground forces. Lisa activated the communication array. Using the Craxian language and command protocols, she transmitted orders that appeared to come from their own leadership. All ground forces return to orbit immediately. Earth defense stronger than anticipated. Immediate extraction required. On the planet's surface, Craxian commanders received the false orders. Many began evacuation procedures, abandoning their bases without question, following their rigid chain of command. In the Australian mining facility, Alan Ross watched as the alien overseers rushed to their transport ships. They're running, he said in amazement. It's working. Not all Craxians were fooled. At some bases, commanders recognized the deception and organized resistance. These became the focus of ground attacks led by Jack Mitchell's forces, using weapons developed from captured alien technology. In space, the battle intensified. 3 human ships were severely damaged, but the fleet pressed the attack. The Defiance approached the Craxian command vessel, targeting its engines and communication array. Their flagship is disabled, reported Eric Carter, now commanding a strike team. Shield strength failing. Admiral Martinez opened a direct channel to Zorex. Your fleet is outmatched. Your ground forces are in retreat. Surrender now. On his damaged ship, High Administrator Zorex faced a situation unprecedented in Craxian history. How could this happen? How could these humans hide such capabilities? Sir, we're receiving reports of ground installations falling across the planet, his second-in-command reported, and our long-range sensors detect more human ships approaching from the outer system. Zorex made his decision. Send the emergency signal to Homeworld. Request immediate reinforcements. To Martinez, he responded, This temporary setback changes nothing. The Craxian Collective has conquered hundreds of worlds. Your resistance is futile. The battle continued for hours. In orbit, human ships methodically disabled Craxian vessels. On the ground, resistance fighters secured alien bases and technology. Jack Mitchell coordinated the ground campaign from his headquarters, receiving updates from around the world. New York base secured. London secured. Beijing under heavy fighting but advancing. Patricia Howard led a team boarding captured Craxian ships, ensuring their technology would be preserved for study. We're learning more with each vessel we take, she reported to Admiral Martinez. Their systems are more vulnerable than we thought. By nightfall, most major cities had been liberated. Craxian forces retreated to a few strongholds, surrounded by human fighters equipped with weapons that could penetrate their defenses. In orbit, Admiral Martinez stood on the bridge of the Defiance, looking down at Earth. Of the original 30, Craxian vessels 22 had been captured or disabled. The remainder had retreated to the far side of the moon, regrouping but not yet fleeing. We've won the first battle, she told her officers. But the war isn't over. Zorex sent a message to their homeworld. They'll send reinforcements. How long do we have? Asked her second-in-command. Their nearest major base is in the Proxima Centauri system. Even with FTL travel, it will take them at least 3 months to organize a response force. Lisa Warren joined them, bringing new intelligence. I've decoded more of their database. The Craxians have an empire spanning dozens of star systems, but they've never faced a successful rebellion. Their entire strategy is based on quick subjugation of primitive species. They have no protocol for dealing with what we've done. Admiral Martinez looked at the tactical display showing the positions of Earth's new fleet. Then we have 3 months to prepare. We'll strengthen our defenses, build more ships, and be ready when they return. Around the world, as news of the liberation spread, humans emerged from hiding. They reclaimed their cities, their technologies, and their freedom. What had begun as a desperate resistance had become humanity's first victory against an interstellar power. And in space, the fleet that the Craxians never expected continued to grow. 3 months after Earth's liberation, humanity prepared for the coming storm. The Craxian reinforcements would arrive any day. Across the planet, people worked together with a unity never before seen in human history. National borders still, existed, but they meant little in the face of an alien threat. In what had once been the United Nations building in New York, now rebuilt and expanded, the Earth Defense Council gathered. Jack Mitchell, now General Mitchell, stood at the head of the table. "Status report," he said to the assembled leaders. Admiral Sofia Martinez spoke first. "Our fleet has grown to 137 ships. The orbital defense platforms are operational. We've established bases on the Moon and Mars, giving us an early warning system for approaching vessels." Patricia Howard, now Director of Alien Technology Integration, added her report. "We've fully decoded the Craxian database. Their weapons, shields, and FTL drives have been improved upon. Our ships now exceed their capabilities in several key areas." Lisa Warren and Kevin Davis presented their findings on Craxian society and tactics. "They've never experienced a major military defeat," Lisa explained. "Their entire empire is built on the assumption of their technological superiority. We've studied their battle formations and command structure. They're predictable." "And vulnerable," Kevin added. "Their communication systems lack the security features we take for granted. We can intercept and decode their transmissions in real time." The council discussed the options before them. Some advocated for a purely defensive stance, protecting Earth and letting the Craxians come to them. Others pushed for a more aggressive approach. Jack listened to all sides before speaking. "We've learned from our history that simply waiting for an enemy to attack rarely ends well. The Craxians won't stop with one counterattack. They see us as a threat now, a challenge to their entire empire. If we only defend, they'll keep coming back with larger forces until they overwhelm us." He looked around the table, meeting the eyes of each leader. "I propose we take the fight to them, not to their homeworld. We're not ready for that. But to their forward bases and supply lines. We hit their reinforcements before they reach Earth, then strike at their nearest colonial outposts." After hours of debate, the council voted. The decision was made. Humanity would not wait passively for the next attack. The next day, Admiral Martinez addressed the crews of the human fleet from the bridge of the Defiance, now nearly twice its original size after upgrades and expansions. "For generations, humans have looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone," she said, her voice transmitted to every ship. "We now know the answer. We are not alone, but we've also learned that not all who travel the stars come in peace." She activated a holographic display showing the planned mission. "Our scouts have detected a Craxian battle group approaching from the Proxima Centauri system. 25 warships, larger than those we faced before. They expect to find a weakened Earth, maybe even a surrendered one. Instead, they'll face the full might of humanity's response." On Earth, final preparations were made. Alan Ross, now a coordinator for civilian defense, helped organize emergency shelters and evacuation routes in case any Craxian ships broke through. "We're more ready than last time," he told the volunteers working with him. "We know what we're facing now, and we have the tools to fight back." Jack Mitchell visited the Australian mining facility that had once been a place of forced labor. It now served as a production center for components used in the new human ships. Former prisoners worked alongside engineers, applying what they had learned about alien technology. "We've come a long way," Jack said to Sam Boyd, who had been with Alan in the Resistance. Sam nodded, looking at the busy factory floor. "From prisoners to shipbuilders in 3 months. Bet the Craxians never saw that coming." Deep space sensors detected the Craxian reinforcement fleet as it exited FTL at the edge of the solar system. 25 warships, moving in standard formation, toward Earth. They broadcast no messages, made no demands. Their intent was clear: reconquest and punishment. Admiral Martinez gave the order. The human fleet, hidden behind Mars, activated their engines. But they didn't move to defend Earth. Instead, they accelerated outward, on an intercept course with the approaching aliens. "All ships prepare for FTL jump," Martinez commanded. "Operation Thunderstrike is go." The human fleet vanished in flashes of light as their advanced FTL drives engaged. They reappeared directly in the path of the Craxian ships, far closer than the aliens thought possible. "They're breaking formation," reported Eric Carter, now captain of his own ship. "They didn't expect us to come to them." "All vessels, Commence. Attack, Martinez ordered. Focus fire on their flagship first, then move outward. Remember your training. The battle in deep space was visible from Earth only as faint flashes of light at the edge of the solar system. In the Defense Council chamber, leaders watched through live feeds from the fleet's cameras. Our ships are faster, Lisa Warren noted as the human vessels darted between the larger Craxian warships. And our weapons are penetrating their shields. The Craxians fought back fiercely, destroying 3 human ships in the initial exchange. But they had expected to face a weakened opponent, not an advanced fleet that understood their tactics and technology. Their flagship is disabled, Kevin Davis reported, monitoring communications. Their command structure is breaking down. After 4 hours of combat, the outcome was clear. 19 Craxian ships had been destroyed or captured. The remaining 6 retreated, jumping to FTL and fleeing the solar system. When Admiral Martinez returned to Earth, the Defense Council was already in session again. The debate had shifted from how to defend Earth to what to do next. We can't stop now, Jack argued. If we let them regroup, they'll be back with an even larger force. What are you suggesting? Asked one of the council members. That we take the war to them? Across interstellar space? Exactly, Jack replied. Not to conquer, but to secure our future. We target their military installations, their shipyards, their forward bases. We show them that Earth is not a target to be reconquered, but a power to be respected. After another day of debate, the decision was made. A fleet of 50 ships, led by the Defiance, would depart for the nearest Craxian colonial system. Their mission was not conquest but demonstration, to show the Craxian collective that humanity would not be treated as just another species to be exploited. On the day of departure, Jack Mitchell joined Admiral Martinez on the bridge of the Defiance. They looked out at Earth, growing smaller as the ship moved away. Do you think they'll ever understand? Sophia asked quietly. What they awakened when they came here? Jack shook his head. They saw us as primitive, as easy targets. They thought our divisions made us weak. They never understood that humans are at their best when faced with a common threat. As the fleet prepared for its jump to FTL, Admiral Martinez sent one final message to the Craxian homeworld. It was short, but it carried the weight of humanity's new place in the galaxy. You came to Earth seeking a colony. You found instead a species that will never be conquered, never be subjugated. We offer peace through mutual respect. Or we promise resistance unlike any your empire has ever faced. The choice is yours. With that, the ships of humanity's fleet vanished into FTL, carrying Earth's message to the stars. The species that had once been confined to a single world now moved outward, propelled not by conquest, but by the determination to secure their freedom among the stars. The Craxians had wanted a colony. They got an unstoppable fleet instead.